Well, once again, and welcome to this week's edition of Professional Insights, brought to you by the National Referral Network and hosted by us, those two incredibly handsome dudes who don't have any hair anymore because Mother Nature decided that we had perfect heads, right? Is that what it was?
I've been told, Mike, I've been told.
Me too.
I didn't even know that until I cut my hair.
I spent so many years trying to, fight Mother Nature, and now I don't know. Maybe my wife says she wouldn't have talked to me when I had hair, so maybe.
Well,
it was a blessing all along. But anyway, the purpose of this presentation, as you and I and everyone knows, is to share professional insights, wisdom, and whatever else we can so that those that are ingesting this will be able to make use of it. Today, we're going to address a basic question that some of you may have, some of you being the clients of some of our most distinguished partners. The question being, why is my CPA or why is my attorney or whoever it is, why are they now mentioning that they have all these other capabilities to solve all these other problems? What's up with that? And Mike, you've got something to say about that. We've done a great deal of research regarding why professionals need to add dimensions to their practices, to their businesses, to solve more problems for their clients, because more and more people are wanting to consolidate more and more services with fewer and fewer advisors. So let's jump into that. What are you finding?
Well, Mike, there's parallel tracks here, and I don't mean to pick on the professionals, but as a business owner or just as an individual, we sometimes put a lot of professionals on these pillars and take their word for everything. Like doctors are a great example.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is that they are business owners just like you and I are. They've got the same challenges. They've got family. So they're trying to create the value for their clients, not only to make sure that they retain clients, but also as revenue, right? They're trying to put food on their table just like you and I are. But on the grander scale, we all have this ability to go through our days and just, hey, I'll push something off until tomorrow, right? I'm going to bury my head in the sand. I'm going to do my estate plan tomorrow. But unless somebody asks a question like a CPA or your estate planning attorney to see if a tax strategy is in line, then we just tend to forget about it. We go years and bad things happen. So we have to have planning. So this is where the numbers on a professional standpoint indicate that retention goes up, revenue goes up. There's a host of things, and we can get into that. But I think that's the baseline, Mike.
Oh, it's a little bit like you go to see your doctor, and I don't know, maybe you're seeing your general doctor, but your doctor notices a big lump on your knee or something and said, well, I don't know what this is, but let me refer you to an orthopedist, something like that.
Well, and that's a great example, Mike. We hope that your general practitioner would see that lump and then refer you out.
Right.
The reality is that general practitioners often don't do that.
CPAs don't do it. Attorneys don't
Absolutely.
do it. They don't ask you about these other dimensions of it. And is the reason they don't want to appear? I mean, I don't know what the reason for that is. They don't want to appear intrusive, or what do you think the reasons are?
So according to various publications over the last 20 years, and on this question, Mike, strictly for CPAs, the reason they do not is simply because of lack of trust. They don't feel the trust of another professional is going to handle their client in a way that they need them to be handled. Because at the end of the day, Mike, if you refer me to somebody and they don't treat me the way you need me to be treated, I'm going to be upset at you.
Right.
And you've spent a tremendous amount of time building the relationship, and now you have to nurture that, build, and you could lose a client.
And we've certainly had that experience as well, referring out to different professionals of different persuasions. So I can totally empathize with that. So how do you solve that problem?
Well, the upside is that one, and this is according once again to the surveys, and this is the AICPA, this is the Journal of Accountancy. One of them is you just have to go on blind trust, which is a problem. The second is you go out and you find the individuals and you interview them, you kind of do test markets, and you spend a lot of time and energy while running a business
Right.
to try to find those key partners. Or the third option, CPAs will start to hire people internally,
Mm.
which increases infrastructure challenges, operational money, everything.
And that's a big mountain to climb, to try to
Big.
bring new services in-house, simply because you don't trust other professionals on the outside.
Yeah.
So, I know this is obviously sponsored by the National Referral Network, and the Referral Network really is about introducing a common standard that everybody has to live by, so that this, I don't know, this concern essentially goes away. You have to commit to, again, this common standard of client service and care, so that the anxiety over referring goes away. That's the idea.
Correct. And this is, and I know that there's some clients will watch this as well, but
Right.
to them, they have to look at their financial lives as multiple avenues, multiple pieces. And I know we like to refer it to the financial junk drawer.
Yeah.
And so you have to think about it as this is your life, your money, and you need to find that team to build that. So you have to start asking those questions. And if a CPA or an estate planning attorney or anybody else is not open to having that conversation to make sure everything's in alignment, you need to find a better team.
And are professionals concerned that, again, I go back to, I don't want to overstep my boundaries or appear intrusive or what have you? Is there some anxiety around that? Like they feel like, I don't want to sell, I don't want to pitch.
All the time, because they think it is a pitch and they don't want to lose their clients. And I see this on social media all the time now, is that there's so many marketers approaching CPAs and attorneys to try to drive leads.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is they don't need to drive leads. If they just asked simple questions, they would increase their referrals.
So again, it's back to my earlier example of the doctor noticing something and going, I don't know what that is, but let's refer that out. It's not a pitch. Nope. It's just asking a question. Hey, are you taken care of in this area? If not, if you're open to me introducing you to somebody who can talk to you about that, let's do that. And that's really what the whole idea of this network is about. It's about giving professionals the ability to have those conversations without feeling like they're pitching or selling.
Yep. And I'll tell you a story, Mike. A friend of mine in one of the mastermind groups that I'm a part of, he used to own a landscaping company. And this was back before 2008 and 2009. And so he'd been working with the CPA from 2005 up until the recession. And afterwards, he ended up having to file bankruptcy. Well, the CPA came to him afterwards and goes, "Oh yeah, I saw this coming years ago." And my buddy's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And he's like, "Well, it wasn't my place." What are you talking about? If you have a client that is struggling with cash flow on a business standpoint, and you are supposed to be the expert in managing that and telling them, it's a simple question. Do you know you're running low on cash? That's not a selling question. It's simply a question of awareness.
Right. And it really, I went to, it's funny, I went to the eye doctor yesterday and they said, "Are you here for this exam or that exam?" And I went, "I kind of count on you guys to track that. I don't have any idea what I'm here for." Okay. And then went, "Oh," and they went back and we rely on professionals to do things for us that we don't want, either we can't do, but we don't want to invest any energy in. And so it's not just, hey, this is my lane and I stay in it. I think clients want professionals asking them questions about other areas and other things, because they just, at the end of the day, want problems to be solved.
Yep. And this was an article from Accounting Today earlier. Well, I'd say earlier this year, but we're in January. So earlier last year. And the number one question that clients ask CPAs is tax planning at 82% most common question. And they surveyed, I think, 3,000 CPAs. Mike, the second most asked question, 62% of their clients ask CPAs about business planning.
Wow.
44% asked about estate planning.
These are not small percentages. This is up there.
It is up there, and these are significant. It's not like, hey, I need life insurance, right? Which is, I don't want to discount life insurance.
Right.
But we're talking business planning and estate planning. Now, how we structure some things with our partners and what we're trying to do in terms of strategically placing is the pillars of wealth. So ultimately, your tax strategy, your
Right.
estate plan, and your business plan, all three of those professionals should be
Yeah.
communicating together.
Yeah, those are kind of the three legs, the three support beams of the financial health, wellness, and wealth stool,
Yep.
right? Or
Yep.
structure.
Yeah. So and this goes back to kind of the premise of the conversation, Mike, is that this has been going on, at least in the CPA. And I know we don't want to pick on CPAs, but they get
Oh,
surveyed a lot. And in 2014, and this goes back to my marketing part, which annoys me, which is in 2014, the AICPA said, look, if you start asking these questions
right.
and peeling back the onion, not in a sales way, but just inquisitive, just curiosity, you have an 83% chance higher of a client retention. So,
And what is the? I don't mean to interrupt you, but what is typical client turnover in CPA practices? Do we know that? Like what percentage of clients leave every year? Is it big? Is it small? What is it?
no, I think they have 10-15% attrition. I mean,
Okay.
it's close to any other business, but and that's a great point, Mike, because if you're spending, and we've talked to clients that are spending $2, 3, $4,000 a month in marketing to attract new clients, right? But 83% higher client retention if you just ask simple questions like, when was your estate plan done? Right? Just little inquisitive. I mean, 25% reported increase in client referrals.
Well,
You
again, and going back to I'm sorry to interrupt. Going back to my appointment yesterday at the eye doctor, I thought there's lots of optometrists around. They're everywhere. They're in every strip mall. And I thought for a minute, these people kind of make me feel like I'm a number whenever I come in here. I really would like it if it was a little bit more personal. Now they kind of turned it around a little bit, but I was close to just kind of finding something else. That's really what we're talking about here. That
absolutely.
we professionals, if they just start asking additional questions about other things, all of a sudden you elevate yourself.
I mean, you look at, and we'll have this gentleman on, Mike. His name's Ephraim. He's a tax attorney. I'm aware of 6 or 7 tax credits that are available to business owners.
Okay.
He's telling me that depending on the state, there's roughly 40 different tax credits for professionals, for business. And it doesn't matter, restaurant owner to multi-million-dollar enterprises, right? And I've talked to CPAs and I've asked them simply, do you know about these tax credits? And the most prevalent one is the R&D tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
And here are the top 2 responses that I get from CPAs. I don't have the bandwidth, or I've heard about it, I just haven't done any research.
Right.
Now, if you're a business client, and I don't care where you are in your stage of growth, if you have a CPA that has a tool that can make you more successful, but is not giving you that tool,
Mm-hmm.
that's a problem for me, Mike.
Right. Right. Well, and you're right. I mean, it's client retention is such a big deal because obviously it's expensive to attract new clients. It's
Yeah.
far less expensive to keep the ones you have. So
And clients don't like moving either.
they don't no.
Clients want to stay with you as a professional. Like they don't like moving and this whole dating and courtship and what do you do and how do you serve?
Right.
They're just comfortable. But then that's the detriment. They stay and then they lose money because they're not being advised properly.
So as we wrap up here today, really the reason that your professional, if you're a client watching this, the reason that your professional has sent this video to you and the reason that your professional, whoever they are, is asking you about other areas is because they want to be more valuable to you. They recognize that that's where the world's going. If you're a professional watching this and you have any anxiety at all about mentioning other things, about other dimensions you can now provide, as they say, please don't let your heart be troubled by that. What the referral network really is about is giving the ability to ask those questions without pitching or selling, because you can now refer to professionals reliably, because again, everybody in the network is held to a really strict standard of client service and care. So we're trying to, again, taking all that anxiety out of it and giving everybody the ability to just have what are very important conversations with their clients.
And they are important. And I don't know how to stress important enough, Mike, is that whatever the future holds, it's your process as a client. You need to take control of that process and start demanding, like we talk to doctors, right? We tell them we demand that we want a second opinion, or we need an x-ray, whatever the case is. There's no redos on financial lives. And so we've got to start asking better questions.
We do. And we have to, and professionals, again, if you're watching this, you know, venture just a little bit further outside your comfort zone, start asking about other things. And we have a whole coaching program for those that want to engage in that, where we can actually teach you how to do this comfortably and reliably and consistently, which is the whole point. Thanks everybody for anything else you want to say, anything we want to cover before we sign off for today?
No, Mike, I'm excited. We're looking to have a great guest on next week. I've got to confirm that. I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But it's going to be something that not a lot of people are talking about. So I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And you'll tell me what it is after we get off of this.
I will.
I don't know. You're keeping me in suspense too.
I absolutely am.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.